11 days without hope changes a person. Ressa Torin had learned this truth while watching her station slowly die. Hollow Station floated in the shadow of a massive gas giant, home to over 2 million beings from 17 different species. Traders, families, workers, dreamers. All of them now trapped like animals waiting for slaughter. 340 Vorkan warships surrounded them in a perfect sphere of death. Their weapons pointed inward. Their message was clear. Surrender or die. Ressa walked through the corridors that had once buzzed with life and commerce. Now they held only fear. Children cried in their parents' arms. Merchants who had argued over prices just weeks ago now shared their last food with strangers. The station's shields flickered with each passing hour, growing weaker. She found Commander Liss at the defense center, his Hellcarry scales pale with exhaustion. His small fleet of 12 patrol ships was nothing against the Vorkan armada. They all knew it. How long? Ressa asked. 6 hours, Liss replied. They sent their final ultimatum. Surrender or they destroy the station completely. Ressa closed her 4 eyes. 2 million souls. Families. Children. All because the Vorkan Dominion wanted to send a message to the galaxy. Submit or be erased. The coalition? She asked, though she knew the answer. They called our situation regrettable but unrecoverable. No fleet will come. No one wants war with the Vorkans. Of course not. The Vorkans had conquered 11 species in 200 years. They had never lost a major battle. What fleet in the galaxy could challenge 340 of their warships? Ressa noticed a human standing quietly in the corner of the room. Ambassador David Webb, one of only 12 humans on the entire station. He was watching the tactical display with an expression she could not read. Humans were a strange species. Young, only spacefaring for 3 centuries. Their territory was small. Their known fleet was modest. They were traders and diplomats, friendly but unremarkable. The galaxy generally liked them but did not take them seriously. Ambassador Webb, Ressa said, I am sorry we cannot evacuate your people. The blockade allows nothing through. Webb turned to her and smiled. It was a strange smile. Calm. Almost peaceful. That's quite all right, Administrator Torin. You do not seem afraid. I made a call, he said simply. Now we wait. Liss made a sound of frustration. A call? To whom? Your government has no fleet capable of reaching us in time. And even if they did, what could they do against this? He gestured at the hundreds of red dots on the display. Webb just shrugged. We'll see. Ressa studied the human carefully. She had worked with many species in her long career. She knew denial when she saw it. She knew false hope. But Webb's eyes held neither. There was something else there. Something that made her uncomfortable. Ambassador, please. If you know something, tell us. My people are preparing to die. If there is any chance, any hope at all, we need to know. Webb was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke softly. Administrator, how much do you actually know about humans? You are traders, diplomats, a minor power with a small but respected presence in the galactic community. That's what we wanted you to know. Before Ressa could ask what he meant, an alarm sounded. A Vorkan transmission was coming through. The face of Grand Admiral Morvith appeared on the screen. His gray skin was marked with the ritual scars of 100 victories. His eyes held the cold confidence of a predator who had never known defeat. People of Hollow Station, he announced, your time is ending. In 6 hours, you will surrender completely, or you will cease to exist. There will be no negotiation. There will be no rescue. The galaxy has abandoned you. His lips curled into something like a smile. Pray to whatever gods you believe in. They are all you have left. The transmission ended. Silence filled the room. Someone was crying softly. Commander Liss lowered his head in defeat. Ressa looked at Webb. The human was checking his watch. Ambassador, 6 hours, Webb murmured. That should be enough time. Enough time for what? Webb met her eyes, and for the first time, Ressa saw something behind his friendly diplomat's mask. Something old, something hard, something that had been hidden very carefully. Enough time for my people to get here, he said, and enough time for you to prepare your civilians for what they're about to see. What are we about to see? Webb's smile faded. His voice dropped to barely a whisper. The reason humans never show the galaxy what we really are. Ressa felt a chill run through her body. She had lived for over 200 years. She had seen many things. But the look in this human's eyes was something new. It was not hope. It was certainty. And somehow, that terrified her more than the Vorkan fleet ever could. Power has a taste. Grand Admiral Morvith had savored it for 60 years, and it had never grown stale. He stood in the command center of the Eternal Conquest, the greatest warship the Vorkan Dominion had ever built. Around him, officers worked in perfect silence. No one spoke unless spoken to. No one met his eyes unless commanded. This was how things should be. Through the massive viewport, Hollow Station hung like a wounded animal. Its shields flickered. Its few pathetic defense ships huddled close to its hull. 2 million beings waited inside, knowing their fate was already decided. Morvith allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. This would be his greatest victory, not because the battle was difficult, but because the message would echo across the galaxy for generations. Defy the Dominion and be erased. Grand Admiral. Subcommander Yurik approached with his head bowed low. The ultimatum has been delivered. They have 6 hours to respond. They will not respond, Morvith said. They will panic. They will cry. And when the time comes, they will die. Yes, Grand Admiral. Morvith turned to face his tactical display. 340 ships. The largest fleet the Dominion had deployed in 50 years. Overkill for a civilian station, but that was the point. The galaxy needed to see what happened to those who sheltered enemies of the Dominion. One small group of rebels had fled to Hollow Station. Just 40 beings who had dared to speak against Vorkan expansion. For that crime, 2 million would pay. Sir, Fleet Seer Austin approached from the intelligence station. His voice carried a note of something Morvith did not like. Uncertainty. I have completed my analysis of the station's population. And there are humans aboard. 12 of them. Morvith waved a clawed hand dismissively. Humans. Traitors. Diplomats. Irrelevant. Sir, we intercepted a transmission from one of them. It was heavily encrypted, but we decoded fragments. It referenced something called Protocol Hammer. Protocol Hammer. Morvith laughed. What is that? A strongly worded letter. Some of the officers nearby chuckled. Yurik did not. Grand Admiral, Yurik said carefully, we have limited intelligence on human military capabilities. Perhaps we should delay until we understand what this protocol means. Morvith's eyes narrowed. He did not tolerate cowardice. I have studied humans, Subcommander. They are a young species, spacefaring for barely 3 centuries. Their territory is small. Their fleet is modest. They resolve conflicts through talking and trading. They are soft. But sir, we have never actually fought them. Because there is nothing to fight. Humans are prey animals who convinced the galaxy they were harmless, and the galaxy believed them because it is true. Morvith stepped closer to Yurik. Do you doubt me? Yurik lowered his head quickly. No, Grand Admiral. Good. Austin cleared his throat. Sir, there is one other thing. Our deep space sensors detected an energy signature approximately 4 hours ago, at the edge of the system. What kind of signature? Unknown. It vanished before we could analyze it. Probably a merchant ship that saw our fleet and fled. Cowards flee from strength. Morvith turned back to the viewport. Continue with the operation. When the 6 hours end, we destroy the station. And the humans aboard, sir? What about them? Should we be concerned about retaliation from their government? Morvith smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. Their government will send a formal complaint. Perhaps they will impose trade sanctions. Perhaps they will give a speech at the Coalition Assembly about the tragedy of innocent lives lost. He laughed again. Humans do not fight, Subcommander. They talk. And talking never stopped a Vorkan fleet. He walked to his command throne and sat down, looking out at the stars like a king surveying his domain. 200 years, he said. 200 years the Dominion has waged war across this galaxy. We have crushed 11 species. We have burned worlds. We have built an empire on the bones of those who opposed us. And in all that time, do you know what I have learned? No, Grand Admiral, Yurik replied. The galaxy is full of species who believe in peace, who believe in negotiation, who believe that words can stop weapons. Morvith's eyes gleamed with cold amusement. They are all wrong. The only truth is power. The only law is strength. And the Vorkans are the strongest. The officers nodded in agreement. This was their truth. This was their faith. Far away, at the edge of the system, sensors detected another anomaly. A flicker of energy that appeared and vanished in less than a second. N01 noticed. N01 understood what was coming. In 5 hours, The greatest fleet the Vorkan Dominion had ever assembled would cease to exist, and Grand Admiral Morvith would learn, in the final moments of his life, that he had made a terrible mistake. Humans were not prey. They had never been prey. They were something far, far worse. For light years away, death was moving at impossible speed. Admiral Catherine Osei sat in perfect stillness aboard the HSS Consequence. Around her, the bridge crew worked with quiet efficiency. No panic, no wasted words. Just professionals doing their jobs. 47 ships flew in formation behind her. The galaxy had never seen them. The galaxy would never forget them. Admiral, her communications officer reported. Ambassador Webb's beacon confirms the situation. 340 Vorkan warships. 2 million civilians. Human personnel present. Time to arrival. For hours at current speed. Increased to maximum. We arrive in 3. Yes, Admiral. Osei looked at the tactical display. The Vorkan fleet appeared as a swarm of red dots, surrounding the tiny blue marker that was Hollow Station. 340 warships against a civilian target. Such courage. Such honor. She felt nothing. She had stopped feeling anything about operations like this long ago. Back on Hollow Station, Ambassador Webb was leading Ressa Torin through the lower levels of the station. The alien administrator followed him in confused silence. "Where are we going?" she finally asked. "Radiation Shelter 7. Deepest part of the station." Webb checked his tablet. "I need you to move all civilians to shelters within the next 2 hours." "Why?" "The Vorkans will destroy the entire station. No shelter will help." Webb stopped walking. He turned to face her. In the dim light, his expression had changed. The friendly diplomat was gone. Something harder had taken his place. "Administrator Torin, I'm going to tell you something that very few non-humans know. I need you to listen carefully." Ressa nodded slowly. "When humans first came to space 300 years ago, we thought the galaxy would be wonderful. We thought we would find friends, allies, peaceful species who would welcome us. What did you find? Pirates, slavers, species who saw us as prey." Webb's voice was flat. "In our first 50 years, we lost 3 colony worlds. 40,000 humans killed or taken. Children sold in markets we didn't even know existed." Ressa said nothing. She had heard rumors of humanity's early struggles, but the details had always been vague. "We sent diplomats," Webb continued. "We asked for help from the coalition. We begged for protection. Do you know what they told us? No. They told us the galaxy is dangerous, and weak species do not survive." Webb smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "So we decided to stop being weak. Your fleet is not what the galaxy thinks it is." Webb gestured around them. "For 200 years, we have shown the galaxy patrol ships, trade vessels, diplomatic cruisers. Small, modest, non-threatening. But those are not our real ships. Those are the ships we let people see." Webb met her eyes. "Administrator, humans learned something important from our early years. If you show your true strength, others will try to destroy you before you become a threat. So we hid. We built our real fleet in secret. We trained our real warriors where no one could see. And we waited. Waited for what? For someone to make the mistake the Vorkans just made." Ressa felt cold. "What is coming, Ambassador?" 47 ships. Hammer class. Built for one purpose only." "What purpose?" Webb's answer was simple. "Ending threats. Permanently." For light years away, Admiral Osei reviewed the operation parameters one final time. Protocol Hammer was clear. When human civilians were threatened, the response was not proportional. The response was absolute. She opened a channel to her fleet. "All ships, this is Admiral Osei. In 3 hours, we will engage the Vorkan fleet at Hollow Station. Our civilians are in danger. Our people are counting on us." She paused. "Rules of engagement are as follows. No negotiation. No warning. No mercy. We delete the thread entirely. Any questions? Silence. Good. Prepare for combat. Osei out." The channel closed. Around her, 47 ships carried enough firepower to crack a planet. Their weapons had never been used in combat. The galaxy had never seen them fire. Today, that would change. Back on Hollow Station, Ressa grabbed Webb's arm. "Ambassador, how do you know your fleet will win? The Vorkans have 340 ships. They have never been defeated." Webb gently removed her hand. His expression was almost sad. "Administrator, the Vorkans have never fought humans." "Not really. They have never seen what we become when our people are threatened. He started walking again. Now please, begin the evacuation to the shelters. The light from what is about to happen will be very bright. Light. When 340 ships die at once, there is a lot of light. Ressa stood frozen as the human walked away. For the first time, she wondered if she should be more afraid of the rescue than the attack. Sensor Officer Kellex had served the Vorican Dominion for 30 years. He had seen fleets burn. He had watched worlds surrender. He had tracked 1,000 battles across 100 systems. Nothing had prepared him for this. Contact, he shouted, his voice breaking. Multiple FTL signatures. Edge of the system. Grand Admiral Morvith barely looked up from his command throne. How many? 40, 47 ships. 47. Morvith laughed. We have 340. Let them come. But Kellex was not laughing. His hands were shaking as he worked his console. The readings made no sense. They could not be right. Sir, you need to see this. Morvith sighed and walked to the sensor station. What is so important that you interrupt my? He stopped. His words died in his throat. On the display, 47 contacts were approaching. But these were not the small patrol vessels human records showed. These ships were massive. Each one registered larger than a Vorican battlecruiser. The lead vessel alone matched the mass of 50 Vorican cruisers combined. That is impossible, Morvith whispered. Humans do not have ships like this. Sir, their energy signatures. Kellex's voice was barely audible. They are off our scale. Our sensors cannot even measure them properly. Scan again. There must be an error. I have scanned 7 times. These readings are accurate. On Hollow Station, Ressa Torrens stood at the observation deck. She had refused to go to the shelters. She needed to see this. She needed to understand. Ambassador Webb stood beside her. There, he said quietly, pointing at the stars. At first, Ressa saw nothing. Then, like ghosts emerging from darkness, she saw them. Ships. Massive ships. Moving toward the station in perfect formation. They did not look like any human vessel she had seen before. They looked like weapons given form. They looked like death made metal. What are those? She breathed. Hammer-class warships. Built in secret shipyards on the dark side of our moon. Powered by technology we never shared with the galaxy. Webb's voice was calm. Each one carries enough firepower to sterilize a continent. 47 of them. 47 of them. On the Eternal Conquest, chaos was spreading. Officers shouted at each other. Sensors screamed warnings. Subcommander Yurik was trying to organize a defensive formation, but his hands were shaking. Grand Admiral, orders? He demanded. Morvith could not answer. He was staring at the approaching fleet with something he had never felt before. Fear. They are not slowing down, Kellex reported. They are not hailing us. They are not. All ships, defensive positions. Morvith finally shouted. Prepare to engage. 340 Vorican warships began to move. Weapons charged. Shields activated. The greatest fleet in Dominion history prepared for battle. The human fleet did not respond. They did not change course. They did not speak. They simply arrived. Admiral Osei sat motionless as her fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel. The Vorican armada filled her view screen. 340 ships. Weapons pointed. Ready to fight. All ships. Confirm target lock, she said. Target lock confirmed across all vessels. Weapon status. All primary and secondary batteries, charged and ready. Osei looked at the enemy fleet. Somewhere in that swarm of ships was a commander who had threatened 2 million civilians. Who had threatened her people. Who had made the last mistake of his life. She felt nothing for him. Nothing at all. Fire. The word was quiet. Almost gentle. What followed was not. 47 human ships fired simultaneously. Beams of light that the galaxy had never seen cut through space like burning knives. They moved faster than Vorican sensors could track. They hit harder than Vorican shields could stop. The first 100 ships simply vanished. One moment they existed. The next moment they were expanding clouds of atoms. No explosions. No wreckage. Just instant conversion from solid matter to scattered particles. That on the Eternal Conquest, Morvith watched his fleet die. Return fire, he screamed. All ships, return fire. The Vorican fleet launched everything they had. Missiles, energy beams, torpedoes. Thousands of weapons streaked toward the human ships. None of them arrived. Human point defense systems activated. Every missile was intercepted. Every beam was deflected. Every torpedo was destroyed before it came within 1,000 kilometers of its target, and still the human weapons kept firing. 112 ships destroyed, Kellex reported, his voice hollow. 130. 150. This is impossible, Yurik whispered. This is impossible. On the observation deck, Ressa watched the sky burn. Light flashed again and again as Vorkan ships died. It was beautiful. It was horrible. It was the most terrifying thing she had ever seen. 93 seconds, Webb said quietly. 112 ships in 93 seconds. Ressa could not speak. She could not look away. The humans had not come to fight. They had come to erase. Grand Admiral Morvith had built his life on certainty. The certainty of Vorkan's strength. The certainty of his own genius. The certainty that the galaxy belonged to those who took it. Now he watched that certainty burn. 200 ships destroyed, Kellex reported. His voice had gone flat. Dead. The voice of someone watching the end of everything he believed. 220. 240. Retreat. Morvith screamed. All ships, full retreat. Jump to faster than light now. Subcommander Yurik looked up from his console with hollow eyes. We cannot. The humans have deployed FDL jammers. Nothing can jump. Nothing can escape. Morvith felt his legs weaken. He grabbed the edge of a console to stay standing. No escape. No rescue. No hope. For the first time in his life, he understood what his victims had felt. Open a channel, he commanded. Hail the human flagship. Tell them we surrender. Tell them we will accept any terms. The communications officer tried. For 30 long seconds, he tried. Sir, they are not responding. They are not even acknowledging our transmission. On the HSS Consequence, Admiral Osei watched the Vorkan fleet die with the same expression she might use to watch rain fall. Her communications officer turned to her. Admiral, the enemy flagship is attempting to surrender. I heard them. Your response. Osei was quiet for a moment. Then she opened a channel. Not to the flagship. To all remaining Vorkan ships. To everyone who could hear. This is Admiral Osei of the United Human Fleet. You threatened a station containing human civilians. You were warned what that means. She paused. There are no terms. The channel closed. Continue firing. On Hollow Station, Ressa Torin watched the massacre through tear-filled eyes. She had wanted rescue. She had prayed for salvation. But this was something else. They are trying to surrender, she said to Webb. I can see their signals. They are begging for mercy. Yes. The humans will not accept. No. What? Webb's face showed no emotion. Because this is not a battle, Administrator. This is a message. And messages must be clear. Outside, the sky continued to flash. 250 ships. 270. 290. Each flash was a warship dying. Each flash was thousands of Vorkan lives ending in an instant on the eternal conquest. Morvith made his final decision. Helm, all power to engines. Ram the lead human ship. If we are going to die, we will take them with us. The massive dreadnought lurched forward. Its engines blazed with everything they had. The Eternal Conquest, flagship of the greatest fleet in Vorkan history, charged toward the human line that a single human frigate moved to intercept Point 1 frigate. Against a dreadnought twice its size, Morvith laughed. It was a broken sound, full of madness and despair. At least we will kill one of them. At least we will. The frigate fired once. The Eternal Conquest broke apart. Its shields did not slow the weapon. Its armor did not resist. The greatest warship the Dominion had ever built simply ceased to exist, torn into pieces that scattered across space like leaves in a storm. Grand Admiral Morvith died without understanding. He died without knowing how badly he had miscalculated. He died like all predators eventually die, meeting something higher on the food chain. Ressa sank to her knees on the observation deck. Tears streamed down her face. Around her, other station inhabitants had gathered to watch. Helkari, Pelathai, Urnix, dozens of species, all standing in silence, watching the impossible. How long has it been? Someone asked. Webb checked his watch. 11 minutes and 42 seconds. 340 ships. Gone. In less than 12 minutes. Human casualties? Ressa asked weakly. None. Damage to human vessels? None. The sky was finally dark again. No more flashes. No more light. The Vorkan fleet was gone, reduced to expanding clouds of debris that would drift through space forever. Ressa looked at Webb. The human was watching the stars with an expression she could not read. "What are you thinking?" she asked. "I am thinking that I need to file a report," he said, "and that I would like a cup of tea." He walked away, leaving Ressa alone with her thoughts. She had spent 200 years believing she understood the galaxy. She had believed humans were a minor species. Friendly, harmless, good neighbors, but nothing special. Now she understood the truth. Humans had never been harmless. They had simply been waiting. And now that the waiting was over, Ressa realized something that would haunt her for the rest of her life. She had no idea what else they were hiding. News travels at the speed of light. Fear travels faster. Within hours, every government in the galaxy knew what had happened at Hollow Station. 340 Vorkan warships, the largest fleet in Dominion history, erased in 11 minutes by 47 human ships that no one knew existed. The Vorkan home worlds received the news first. Their leaders gathered in emergency councils, staring at reports they could not believe. Their entire expeditionary fleet gone. Not defeated, not scattered, gone. As if they had never existed. No one spoke of revenge. No one spoke of retaliation. Everyone was too busy calculating how many more secret fleets the humans might have, and whether those fleets might come for them next. On Hollow Station, life slowly returned to normal. Human medical ships had docked within an hour of the battle's end. Supplies were flowing. Wounds were being treated. Children who had been crying for days were finally sleeping. Admiral Osei never set foot on the station. Her fleet stayed only long enough to confirm the civilians were safe, then departed for its next assignment. Where that was, no one knew. No one asked. Ambassador Webb resumed his duties as if nothing had happened. He attended meetings. He signed documents. He smiled at everyone he met. The friendly diplomat had returned, as if the cold warrior Ressa had seen had never existed. She found him in the observation deck, watching the stars through the same windows where they had watched the massacre together. "Ambassador, Administrator Torin." He turned with a warm smile. "How are the recovery efforts?" "Proceeding well, thanks to your people's help." She hesitated. "May I ask you something?" "Of course. How do we trust you now, knowing what you truly are?" Webb's smile faded slightly. He looked at her with eyes that held something ancient, something tired. "Administrator, let me ask you something instead. In all the time humans have been part of the galactic community, have we ever started a war?" Ressa thought. "No." "Have we ever invaded another species' territory?" "No." "Have we ever threatened civilians? Demanded tribute? Conquered worlds?" "No." "Then why would you fear us now?" "Because of what I saw. Because of what you can do." Webb nodded slowly. "Administrator, humans have a saying. Speak softly and carry a big stick. Do you understand what that means?" "No." "It means that true strength does not need to threaten. True power does not need to boast. We built those ships because the galaxy taught us that weakness invites attack. But we never used them until someone forced us to." He looked back at the stars. "You were always safe from us. Every peaceful species was always safe from us. We only built these weapons for one purpose." "What purpose?" "To protect the innocent from those who would harm them. Stay innocent, Administrator, and you will never have anything to fear from humanity." Ressa was silent for a long moment. Then she asked, "What happens now? With the Vorkan Dominion?" "Nothing happens. They lost their fleet. They lost their power. Other species they oppressed will start pushing back. Their empire will crumble within a generation." Webb shrugged. "We did not need to invade them. We just needed to show everyone else that they could be beaten." Across the galaxy, that message was already spreading. Pirate operations near human trade routes ceased overnight. No one wanted to risk attracting the attention of those secret fleets. The Galactic Coalition formally requested human military advisors in unstable regions. The same coalition that had called Hollow Station unrecoverable now begged for human protection. 3 aggressive powers quietly canceled planned military campaigns. Whatever they had been planning was not worth the risk of human retaliation, and in quiet corners of 100 worlds, oppressed species looked at the news and felt something they had not felt in a long time. Hope. If the Vorkans could fall, maybe anyone could fall. Maybe freedom was possible after all. Ressa returned to her office that night. She needed to write her report. The coalition would want to know what she had seen, what she had learned, what she now understood about humanity. She stared at the blank page for hours, Finally, she began to write. I have lived for over 200 years. I have seen many species rise and fall. I thought I understood the patterns of power in our galaxy. I was wrong. The humans were never what they appeared to be. They were never the small, friendly, harmless traders we believed them to be. They were never prey. They were guardians. Protectors who chose to hide their true nature until it was needed. They wore the face of sheep so that the wolves would ignore them. And when the wolves finally attacked someone under their protection, they revealed what they truly were. I do not know if we should be grateful or terrified. Perhaps both. Perhaps that is exactly what they want. But I know this much. The galaxy will never see humanity the same way again. And any species thinking of threatening innocent lives should remember what happened to the Vorican fleet point, 340 ships. 11 minutes. 0 survivors. That is the human message, and I believe the galaxy has finally received it. She saved the report and leaned back in her chair. Somewhere in the distance, a human ship was departing the station. Its running lights flickered like stars. It looked small, harmless, peaceful. Ressa knew better now. She would never look at a human the same way again.